Hey guys, Sandy here, and today I am scrapbooking rainbows. Now you probably can't tell from this cut file here, but we're gonna make some magic happen with it. So this is actually a cut file from Brutus Monroe to make a shaker box out of it, but I decided to blow it up on my Cricut and make a full layout out of it. Let's see what I can do. Now, as you can see, I am starting off with some Sparkle Aqua Pigments, and these pigments are super awesome. They have lots of sparkle inside of them, and I'm just showing you how I get the sparkle at the bottom to kind of get throughout the entire pigment. So what I do is I twist off the top, squeeze the little dropper top a whole bunch, and then I twist back on the top and give it a shake. And that allows the sparkle to go all the way through the pigment instead of just on the bottom. It does settle, so you just want to make sure that you are giving it enough agitation to get that sparkle throughout the entire pigment here. So as you can see, I laid out my pigment in just a plastic paint palette, and I am kind of going around in a funky shaped circle just to get paint color all the way around the page. Now, I am definitely not an artist. As you can see, I just kind of go and have fun with it until I like what I have down on my paper. And I think that's what you have to do. You really have to experiment with different mediums and figure out what you like and figure out what is a good technique for you. And what is a good technique for me might not necessarily be the best one for you. Like, as you can see, I am treating this brush really, really badly. It was not an expensive brush. It's almost like a makeup blush brush. That is what it reminds me of. It actually looks very similar to the brush that I use to put bronzer on my face. So, yeah. But it's not an expensive brush, it's not a fancy brush, so I don't mind doing what I'm doing right in here and like basically bristling out the brush. And what I am doing is just building up layers of the colors over top of each other. So as you can see, the orange has gone on a couple times, the red has gone on a couple times, and then I'm just kind of mixing them together. I'm filling half of my brush with the red, half the other side of the brush with the orange, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put that down. And what that does is it deepens the color of the aqua pigment. So it's not just the one flat layer of color. The aqua pigments kind of build up over time, so you can see like the different levels. So you can see the lighter color yellow and the darker color yellow because I've built the color up on top of it. Now, I didn't use gesso or anything like that. It was just a plain white piece of cardstock. So I set that off to the side to dry, and then I decided to work on my cut file. So this is the Smile shaker cut file, and you can get this in the Brutus Monroe store. Now, this cut file is awesome. The great thing about cut files, you guys, is you can manipulate them to any size you want. So if you wanted to do this as something small, maybe as a title element or as a greeting on a card, you could totally do that. Or you could go like I did and blow it up so that it fills your 12 by 12 cutting mat and make it go that way. Now, the only thing I'm doing right now is taking my Botanical Banner stamp set. It is my absolute favorite Brutus Monroe stamp set, and just stamping on top of it with the clear embossing ink. And now I am using the ultra fine embossing powder in Raven to just sprinkle over top of the flowers. Now, this cutting mat, you guys, was almost on its last leg. It did not have a lot of sticky. It was starting to kind of like come apart. There were patches of it that didn't have any sticky whatsoever. So I was okay with doing my embossing right on top of the mat. However, if you want to make your mat last, don't do that right on top of the mat, you guys. Don't pour your powder on the mat because it will stick to the sticky part of the mat. Now I am just going to go ahead and heat up my embossing on top of this bad boy. And as you can see, I was not careful when I removed my cut file, and I actually tore it. Now this is something you can do quite easily with any cut file. You just really have to kind of be careful with what you're doing, and I wasn't. I wanted to get that bad boy off of there because embossing is one of my absolute favorite things to do. It is magic, you guys. Embossing is magic. To sit there and see powder turn into this smooth meltiness, like I just really, really love it. It's magic, and I get to make that magic happen every time I emboss. So that is super fun. Now I'm just going to clean off my work surface really quick with a duster right there. And that is my biggest tip for embossing powder, because no matter what you do, whether you use coffee filters, whether you use, you know, an embossing tool thing that's made for that kind of thing, the powder gets out. The powder just gets out. So a little duster like that works so good, so good. So I'm laying this down on top of my rainbow background that I created, and I'm making the word kind of go up a little bit, like it's leaning up just ever so slightly, and that was on purpose because of the photo that I'm fitting down here. Now this is a photo of my daughter with her high school diploma. She graduated this past December. She did graduate a semester early. And the only thing I did with this photo was mat it on some black cardstock, and then I matted it on a rainbow piece of paper from the Bold Rainbow paper pad. I thought that that was completely appropriate to do since I am scrapbooking rainbows right now. Now, I was going to use Smile as a part of my title, and my letters that I'm pulling out right now, I was going to spell out Be Happy And, so the title could be Happy and Smile. Now, however, I end up not using the word and, I just end up using Be Happy. And this is my favorite alphabet stamp set from Brutus Monroe. It is the bold alphabet in lowercase. It comes with the outline and fill. Now there is also an uppercase alphabet with the outline and fill as well. And I just really like the font of it. I think that, you know, you can partner it up with some fancier things. You can kind of just keep it casual. It's like that. I'm starting to talk like it like it's an article of clothing, but it really does work. It's really a versatile stamp set. So I just went ahead and embossed that up. Now I grab a very thin paintbrush, very thin bristled paintbrush. And these are actually paintbrushes from ceramics. So my grandmother used to own a ceramic shop, and a lot of my brushes are her old brushes that she had handed down to me. Now I am dipping directly into my aqua pigment and just painting inside of that embossed area of the letters here. And I am basically filling out these letters with orange, and then I'm also going to pull in the yellow color and fill in the P and the Y, and then I'm going to go back into the orange a little bit and just give it a tad bit of shading, because I want my letters to kind of feel the same way. I want them to kind of blend into the background, but I still want you to be able to see them. So the color of them is going to be able to blend a little bit better into the background, but that black embossed part of the letter that I did, that's going to give it that little bit of pop that it needs, so that it is really just kind of like there. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my mind, so I hope it makes sense as I'm saying it to you guys. So I just keep touching into my aqua pigments, and I am not cleaning the brush between going through each one. Now I am okay with that. I am definitely have the potential to contaminate the red and the orange together. But like I said, I'm okay with it. I don't think that that tiny, tiny little bit of pigment on my brush is going to ruin it. And if it does, then that's my own fault. So if you want to be super careful, get yourself some clean water and rinse out your brush in between each time. Now I take my black pen and I just do a sketchy border around the outside just to give it a little bit of definition. I didn't really want to mat the whole thing on black cardstock, but I wanted something there to like define that outer space. Now, these are the roses from the Botanical Banners stamp set. Like I said, you guys, my favorite stamp set ever from Brutus Monroe. And I am going to go ahead and use my Aqua Pigments and color them. This time I am going to go ahead and clean off my brush, and I do it in the lazy way. So this is a really thin brush again, and instead of having a clean dish of water, I'm just spraying it off with my sprayer into a paper towel. It's the lazy way, guys, but it works. I still go and clean off the brush afterwards, like a truly cleaning off the brush, but right now this just works. So what I'm doing is the same thing I did with the letters. I'm going to paint variations of colors over top of the flower that matches the background. And I did that in 3 different colors. So I did the blue down here. I also did that red through the purple over on the left-hand side. And then I also did some yellow and orange right here. Now I did paint in my leaves with the creamy light green aqua pigment. So I wanted the green to be a little bit different than the green that I had in the background. I wanted something there that was just a little bit different. And doing it that way definitely did that. Now those little leaves that I trimmed off the edge that were hanging off the edge from the purple red flowers, I just tucked them underneath the blue flower just to give it a little bit more oomph down there. Now I do go ahead and pull some sparkly black enamel dots to sprinkle around my page just to give it a little bit of an extra oomph there. And then I do write just a line or 2 of journaling underneath of my daughter's photo. And then that is going to do it for this layout, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you get notifications every time a video is posted, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.